What's good, bro?
Appreciate you.
Man, absolutely. Thank you for having me on, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, bro.
Shades hard now.
It's fire. Yes, sir. Come on. Desi's, they're actually my girls. I can't even lie.
Okay.
I can't even lie, bro.
Hey, man, you wear them proudly, though. It's okay.
Oh, yeah. Come on now. They're unisex.
Yeah. That's how I started. You ever seen those Lululemon belt bags?
Oh, yeah.
All my...
oh, yeah.
I'm going to say friends who are girls. 'Cause I don't want people.
Right.
All my friends who are girls
right.
had those. I'm like, man, let me see one of them things. And
I
got like 2 of them. So I was like,
yeah. Come on. I think that's how the crossbody started, like fanny packs and whatever, just in general. And then, guys were trying to resist all that and trying to be all macho and whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah, we gonna sling this thing.
These pants I got on, the camera can't catch them, I don't think, right now. But these... You see my leg up? These bell bottoms.
You got the bell bottom flare going?
I got these from Urban
Nashville
Outfitters.
one time.
Dude, I literally bought them.
Playing.
I got them from Urban Outfitters, and I was telling Davey, bro, they're like $10.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Let me put them on and just see what. My cousin was like, do not buy those.
Right.
And I was like, okay, they don't drag. I was like, man,
No, you're good, bro.
Hey,
that's what they're built for.
I think I rocked it, But we're going to get to clothes later. I don't have a clue what I'm saying. Welcome to Stuck in My Thoughts.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being on the show. This is my boy, AJ Thomas, entrepreneur, DJ, great guy, former college athlete.
Yeah.
I try to find the connections between me and my guests. We both have master's degrees.
Yeah.
Figured out about that.
Whoa.
Yeah. I just got my
right.
MBA. So what was your
MBA?
Okay.
Yeah.
Look.
Come on, yes, sir. Come on.
Big
we're
brains
doing
out here.
Yes,
You know
sir.
what I'm saying?
We're going.
So I appreciate you being on the show, man.
Yeah.
I'm in Nashville for the weekend. We're recording in Nashville, man.
Yep.
Hopefully the future home one day.
As you saw with the bell bottoms.
Yep, you know what I'm saying? We rocking them things today.
Yes.
But you didn't start here, man. You were
No.
talking about before the show kicked off. You started out in Chicago.
Yeah.
Naperville.
Yep.
I was just up there.
Really?
Yes, last week. Wednesday through Christmas morning. My uncle lives in Oswego. Small world.
Bro, what's going on? That's so crazy. That's wild.
I was up there. I hadn't been up there in a long time, and they're about to move to Dallas. So he was like, "Let's have a Christmas here before they move, man."
Yeah,
it's turned up there, man.
Oh
I
man.
enjoyed it.
Suburbs are fire, man. Chicago is just a dope city, and if you ever get the chance, because obviously you were just up there last week, if you ever get the chance, go to downtown Chicago in the summer.
Yeah,
it's the greatest. Like, you can't really call it a secret, I guess, because it's a massive city, but nobody outside of the Midwest really understands. Chicago summers are crazy. There's a beach, there's all that massive body of water. So.
I didn't realize that until I was looking at the map, because I was trying to go to the Home Alone house.
Yeah, like Lake Forest.
And I looked at it, I was like, bro, that's a lot of water. I was like, I have no idea where we're at. I was like, there's a lot of water. I'm thinking like it's cornfields, just the middle of nothing. I'm like, there's a lot of waters out here.
Oh yeah, it's Great Lakes, bro.
Yeah,
it's massive.
Hey,
biggest bodies of like. Listen, I can't even get into the technicalities.
Hey man, shout out to Chicago, Naperville, Oswego, all y'all up there in the Midwest, man. Y'all's doing y'all's thing. But talk about growing up there and kind of your upbringing and then getting into the college athletics. That's another thing we have in common.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born in Rockford, Illinois, which is just north of Chicago, northwest. I was born in Rockford and started there for like the first 6 years of my life and started playing basketball there. Then my mom moved us. Literally, they meet each other. The towns meet each other. It's called Winnebago. So we moved when I was like 6 from Rockford to probably 5 minutes down the road to Winnebago, but completely different. Yeah, like completely different. So Rockford is it's the west side of Rockford is predominantly like a minority area. It's black and Hispanic families, and then Winnebago is dominated by farm white families, white town, all this. So and they intersect. So growing up, it was a very interesting place to be. Obviously, being a mixed kid as well.
I was gonna ask nationality.
Yeah, yep. So I'm mixed. So my biological father is black and my mom is white. I've never met my dad, so like I don't really have that side of the family that I can kind of rely on for education when it came coming up. So sports, athletics was my education. So basketball was my first love, bro. And like I started playing on the Little Tykes hoop in the living room at like 2 years old, and but I always played basketball. And so growing up there, it was such a weird, it was weird, man. Like, it was weird looking back on it now. When you're in it, you're just surviving. You're just doing your thing. You're living, you're playing sports and all that. But growing up there was so interesting because of the adults and the adults' views on what I was, right? Yeah. Like, I'm not white, I'm not black.
You're trying to figure out where you fit in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the locational thing too, like I said, the Winnebago Rockford thing is such a, you're doing this, like, it's such a weird tension that you can't really put you can't really place it until you get older. You start to understand, you start to study that stuff. So grew up there, Rockford, Winnebago, but went to Winnebago High School with all my best friends and played sports and played basketball and football and baseball and track, and I wrestled, and I really just tried to do everything. And I'm 6'3", 6'3.5" on a good day.
Yeah, I gotta add that in there.
Depending on how much, sleep I have. Basketball, I think, was my love, like my true passion is basketball. But I'm not a point guard body at all.
Yeah.
Like, I would have to work really hard to look like Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
Like I'm like a Kyle Lowry type of body, right? Yeah. And but I grew up with guys like Marcus Posley and Mike Mann that were at my school, but we also played AAU ball with a guy named Fred Van Vliet, who is now with the Rockets, who's a freak, right?
You play AAU with Fred?
Oh yeah, so Fred was 2 years younger than me. So Fred played at Rockford 5-0 with his dad, Joe Danforth, and Joe tried to get me to play with 5-0 back in the day in like middle school. My mom wasn't having it because I was in 2 other basketball leagues as well, and we couldn't drive all the way to the other side.
Feel you.
So it was like, okay, we can make this commitment, but you got to jump off of one of these Winnebago teams. And I don't think I've ever told any of my friends this, but I turned down the Rockford 5-0 situation to play with Fred and Darnell and Lamar Foote and like all these guys that are freak athletes, and Marcus, actually, Posley, he was over there too for a while, but decided to play with the Winnebago crew, and that ended up paying off because we went to state and we were undefeated 2 years in a row. Yeah. So lost downstate and then lost going to state. But so it paid off in that way. But Fred was like, Fred's like a little bit shorter than me, but way faster, can shoot better, can handle. So I knew football was going to be my thing, and I loved it and I was good at it. So football. Played tight end and all that, and that's what took me to Naperville.
That's what's up. Wait, what college did you go to?
Went to North Central College.
Okay.
In Naperville. Yep. So D3 school, great program. We were always ranked in the top 10 every single year I was there. Like, crazy powerhouse. They just lost in the Natty by 1 this year, which is tragic. And I lost by 1 going to the Natty my senior year. Sheesh. So to Mount Union, that was a tough one.
You always remember those games, man.
Oh, bro.
You always remember the losses more than the wins, man. The wins can be great.
Oh, yeah.
But you always remember the losses, man. No matter how minuscule sometimes. I'm like, dang, like, I wish I could. You go back and act like you can change it.
Oh, yeah. Vivid, bro.
What would I do in this?
Exactly.
Like, bro, that's 10 years ago. Like,
and that's track, too. Like, track, I did track. I went downstate for track all 4 years, and I was a shot putter and discus thrower, and those little things, track's almost even more, like, it's almost like golf, where it's like, I can't, like, just the little misstep or like a little, shot put, like a little bit more rotation. It's these little, like, finite or like little minute things that changes the whole outcome of everything, bro. So yeah, it's frustrating, but yeah, so North Central, and I also did track there as well. So
that's what's up.
Yeah, man.
Before the camera started rolling, you talked about, you actually was giving me props, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
You was talking about the outlook on life beyond ball.
Yes.
And I have a good friend, Jonathan Jones. He has a podcast, Beyond the Ball, and talking about preparing yourself and moving a different way and thinking about certain things. We were talking about those guys who get the generational wealth contracts. And that's the 0.01%. But the other ones may not get that much time, may not go to the pros. If they're in the pro, they're only in there for average 2, maybe 3 years.
Right.
What do you think how do you think people should go about that without having a negative outlook of like, oh, I can't make that dream, but also keeping in perspective of there's so many other things you can do.
Well, I think why not? Like, why not try it? And, you know, you never know what could happen, man. There's always those stories of somebody that was undrafted or, you know, you got a Brock Purdy right now. It's happening to him right now with being the last pick of the draft a couple years ago. And he could have, you know, he went to Iowa State, I think. He could have literally just said, like, I don't know if this is going to be it. Iowa State wasn't a national champion contender. Like, he could have said, I don't know. But he took the chance. And now, look, he'll be in the league as long as he wants. Yeah. Like, it's already over for him. But you also got guys like what we were talking about, like, you know, there's guys that are drafted super high that end up falling off crazy. And Johnny Manziel. And you know, there's a lot of outside factors that went into it with that. And what we were talking about is the outside factors. And, you know, those are the things that I wish we had more education on, and we need to have more education on. This is exactly what you're doing right now. This is the education for the youth. But it's not ball that will take you out. It's all of the outside factors that will take you out. So if you're in the league and you make it there and you get to a roster and you're only on that roster for 2 years and didn't get hurt, it's normally outside factors that are leading you out of the game at that point, because to get there, it's like winning the lottery a million times over. At every level, you got to win the lottery again and again and again and again until you find yourself on this active roster, 53-man roster with a contract. That's most people will never ever I never touched that. And I was an all-conference player, whatever, did all these different things. And, it was smaller school ball, but that smaller school ball, we played D2 teams that were ranked in the top 5 and smoked them, 86-15 type stuff.
Lord,
like,
that's some
crazy.
That's some upstate scores.
Right. But we had a crazy team. So we had guys on our team that had the opportunity. And I had the opportunity, and I didn't take care of myself. I didn't take care of my body. It was existential or outside factors that led me away from the game. And a lot of these guys touch a little bit of money or see a signing bonus of $100K and they don't think about, well, what am I going to do after this runs out? It's always, my next check's coming, so let me just buy this. I'm going to go buy this car. I'm going to go buy this house. I'm going to go, buy my girl a few bags. Don't get me wrong, go and do that stuff. Like, go and do that, but you better be ready to work, and you better diversify in what you're doing. It's not just ball. What we were talking about is ball is probably the smallest aspect of your professional career, even if you are a professional athlete. Now, that's the driver, that's the engine, but there's a whole other car involved in this thing that helps you steer the way and allows you to get to where you want to go. So ball is definitely the ticket in for most people. But once you get in there, ball is the smallest thing, and everything outside of that, outside of the field, is what ends up taking you out, whether it's father time or it's you messing around and doing some stuff or dumb whatever, stuff. So, man, I don't know. I'm 32 years old. I've seen a lot of players come and go, not personally, like I know them. I've seen a lot of players come and go, just watching them on TV, the Johnny Manziels, the Josh Gordons. I mean, the list goes on there. So Ryan Leafs and all of those things. And it's usually outside factors that are kind of leading them off of the field. And it's sad a lot of the times, but a lot of times some of those guys, that's their path in life. So,
everybody has something that leads them somewhere on this journey of life. And for you got led to Nashville. How did that come about? And when you hit your feet running, we talked to Ty in a previous episode about, you get dumped into this city. It's a big city, and you're not from the South. You're in a new place.
Right.
How do you go about yourself?
I didn't know anything about the South, man. I didn't know what, kind of like energy, I guess, here, deep-rooted energy, I would say. I had no idea. I didn't know what Nashville was, but my best friend, Derek Sanderson, he's actually he's my brother, he's family, but he had moved from Chicago. He was my RA actually my freshman year, and we became best friends. We ended up living together. So he went and after college worked for the St. Louis Rams.
Okay.
And then he actually worked for Rand Carthen, who is now the GM for the Titans, which is crazy, right? But Rand back then was in player personnel, and
we talked about small world.
Small world, bro. All these things, all these things tie together. So Rand was actually Derek's mentor, and so when St. Louis was getting ready to move to LA, they let go of a lot of people, and Derek was really young, and they were like, "Hey, man, like, you know, you can either try to come out to LA or we're going to restart this." So he moved down to Nashville anyways. He wanted to get into music. So he ended up working for Red Light Management through a whole bunch of other things. And so he got established here while I was in grad school up in Chicago. And while in grad school, I just hit kind of a rock bottom situation. And I called my friend Ryan Rezac, and he started praying with me, and we did FCA stuff basically like every morning. Like he would send me daily devotionals, and we would get up and we would talk about it. And I was in a terrible spot. I didn't know what was going on with life. Football as a player had ended, and I had started my journey as a coach, and I didn't know what it was that was going to fill my cup at that point. And I thought it was going to be coaching, and I thought, you know, maybe being an athletic director. That's why I was getting my MBA. I wanted to get into that realm, and I realized quick that playing football, playing sports, being on the team and active and being able to physically do something to help win or whatever, to, you know, that was where I found my value in sports. Like that was where I thrived. On the field, being competitive was my thing. So as a coach, not being able to strap it up again and go out there and do that, it was hard, bro. Like that put me down. That almost put me out.
Big adjustment.
Massive. And so called Ryan Rezac. He started hitting me every morning early with these daily devotionals. So started praying a lot, and I didn't grow up in church really at all, but I started praying a ton and talking to my mom a ton, and I started talking to Derek about, hey, like, what's Nashville about? I don't even know what Nashville is. And he's like, come down and visit. So I started visiting Derek a lot. And on the last visit in 2015, I had a wild experience down here. That's probably a 3-hour conversation. It's a 3-hour, it's a wild story, but it involves Sam Hunt, which is...
Shout out Sam.
Shout out Sam. And it involves Brandy and Miley Cyrus.
Okay.
In the same night.
Dang.
So it was a wild situation. It was Miley's birthday. Sam had just won CMA like New Artist of the Year.
Yeah.
And I didn't live here yet, but it was November 23rd, 2015. And that night, we just had a great night. It was like one of the most fun nights of my life. But we basically, long story short, stayed up the whole night and listened to Bieber and then the Drake and Future album and just partied. It was Miley's birthday and Thanksgiving, all that. So we just partied the whole time and had a really good time. But 2 times in that night, I had 2 different groups of people, one being Miley and Tish, Miley's mom, Tish. We were in the corner of this little like trailer we were partying for. I haven't told this on camera yet. We're
getting exclusive, y'all.
Yeah, I'll say I've never actually told this on camera yet, but we're in the corner of, it was Miley's birthday party, really small, intimate setting, but I was DJing kind of in the back, and we were standing by the speaker, and Miley and Tish had both looked at me and were like, hey, like, if you ever need anything, just let us know. Like, they were just opening their hearts to me, because they had known, like, through Derek and Brandy and different things, like, that I was thinking about coming down, and then I had told them, like, I really want to see what this music thing's talking about down here. And they're like, well, if you ever need it, Brandy, same thing. If you ever need anything, like just ask, and like we can at least help you or guide you. Same night, Van Hunt, which is Sam's brother, and Sam did the same thing at Sam and Van's house and pulled me aside, and they were like, yo, if you ever need anything, like let us know. So 2 times in the same night in 2015, while I'm going through this wild just transition period regardless in sports and all of that, and wanting to get out of there, best friend living here, and then meeting 2 people that I look up to in the entrepreneurial space and entertainment space, had both opened their hearts to me, and you know, that was something that to me was like God saying, hey,
I got you.
I got you, bro. Just go and do it. So that was November 23rd, 2015, and then I moved down January 21st to 2016.
Okay.
So it was like
kind of quick.
It was and like I said, I had been visiting Derek for a while over the summer and stuff like that, but that was the last visit. That sealed it. Some of the Nashville people came up to Chicago for New Year's, and then boom.
Yeah.
So
I feel like the Lord always places, and I'm a believer, and my podcast is for everyone.
Right. Same.
Regardless.
Same.
And so, but I do believe that the Lord puts people around you and in your circle for a reason. 100%. And you got 2 confirmations that night.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's by coincidence.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, when you're looking for answers, sometimes the Lord gives you the answers through other people. I've had those situations, and I think that's dope, man.
100%.
And you get to Nashville here for some years, and I believe around this time last year, December, is it December 7th?
Yeah.
Was the date?
Yeah.
You launched the brand.
Yeah, bro.
Not a pipe dream.
You're good, bro. Okay.
Not a pipe dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
What made you start it? Why?
Whew. Yeah, this is good. So I'll just kind of continue on basically with the story because that's how I got to this point. I hope I'm not running us out of time or anything.
No, we're good.
All right, cool. So when I got here, there's a guy named Lalo Guzman who is one of my best friends still. He offered to teach me how to produce. He was one of the guys from Nashville that came up for New Year's before I moved down, and we met in the elevator, and he was like, bro, if you ever want to get into this, I'll help you. Yeah. So every day, I didn't have a job. I had finished school and finished recruiting and all that, and moved, and I started going to his house every day. He started teaching me how to produce. So I started making beats, and then I started writing music. And then he was like, bro, if you're going to do something, are you going to, like, then do it. You either got to sell these beats, you got to start writing yourself, you got to, like, what are you going to do here? Yeah. I'm like, all right, bet. Like, all right, let's do this thing. So I bought a mic and I started recording. That turned into an album.
Yeah,
weirdly called Lost in Thought.
I heard you dropped like a 17 to 18 song album.
Oh yeah. So I just dropped a crazy, album. I got a song on there that's 8.5 minutes long.
Like, that's like one of those gospel songs.
Yeah, I mean, it was something. It was definitely like a trauma. It was like a trauma kind of just regurgitation, and it was really healing for me, honestly. And it kind of kick-started a lot of conversations with my family back at home that we would have probably never had. And it was just like internal things that I needed to get out, I think, whether it was perceived or, what was happening in real life, real time. But it was real to me, and it still is. And so we got to have really great conversations around that. But that I released that in 2017, September, and then I was working at a pizza place. I was working at 312 Pizza, chef and pizzas, crazy. And then I started working at an insurance place. So I was an insurance adjuster for high risk car insurance. It was tough. I got certified and everything. Did all that. It was tough, bro. It was crazy. But so I was always working, but I was always like working on this craft, and I was trying to get into the scene that way. And I knew that I wanted to create music and be on stage and then be able to sell merchandise and like design that stuff. I was always so big into clothing, watching Michael Jordan as a kid and then LeBron James and watching what they did with brands. I didn't realize that's what I wanted to do, but watching them and then seeing the position I was getting into in Nashville, I was like, oh, this is where I want to go with this. I want to get into the apparel space through music. So kept doing music, was playing shows. I started touring with Cyrus, actually.
Okay,
So Brandy and I started touring together and, playing 18, 20, 25 shows in a year type stuff. And
shout out Brandy.
Brandy's the best. I don't know if you've ever met her, but
no, we gotta get Brandy on the show.
I know we do. She's the best. I think she's in LA right now, but she next time you're in town, bro, we should definitely try to link that up. She's awesome, dog. Okay. So she extended her hand to me and needed a hype man, so her and I started doing that, and I'm forever indebted to her, and so kept doing that, kept pushing the envelope, kept kind of figuring out what I really like to do. I started working at Warby Parker and was in styling and did insurance for them, and also just was a customer experience agent. So all these jobs. I started working for Arete, which is a health and wellness. I don't want to call it a spa. It's not a spa. Health and wellness facility, medical facility, and Bobo, who is one of Ty's really good friends, one of Sam's really good friends. He's from Birmingham, and him and I lived together for 4.5 years. We're best friends. Yeah. He's family too. So while working for Arete, I was kind of, introduced to a bunch of different people as well. It was a lot of hard work, but Bobo kind of showed me the hustle of entrepreneurship behind the scenes. I'd always seen Sam on stage, and then I would see him, at parties. He would end up in the bathroom sitting on a bucket playing, like just going to town on music. He was always working on his craft, always, even when everyone else was having fun. And so I started kind of understanding what was going on here and whatever, and finally was about to get the big break in 2020. Yeah. Brandy and I got asked to go on tour with Sam, and we're about to do this whole thing. It was 54 dates, international here and Canada, and then who knows what happens after that. But we were touring with that, and then COVID hit and derailed my whole, I had quit Warby Parker to go on tour. Yeah. I was like literally preparing for it and shut the whole thing down. So in that time, in 2020, I had no idea what to do. Like I said, I had just quit my job and I had no cash. Like, no one had cash, bro. We couldn't do anything. Yeah. So anyways, I know there's a long story, but this is how I got into it. So in 2020, I met a designer in town that had just moved from Dallas, and I didn't know anything about him, but Bobo and I had brought in Taylor Lewan and Derek Henry to get some hats at a time that, no one really knew who this designer was at all, but he made really cool stuff. Yeah. And so we went in there, and one of my best friends, Allie Barrett, who's now a business partner of mine, Allie was working for this guy. Okay. So came in, they got fitted for hats or jackets and whatnot, or at least Taylor did for sure. And the guy that was working there, his name was Travis, and he was like, he was just personable, and he was able to talk, and he was really good at his craft, and he had good people around him with Mike Ryan and Allie and some other people, and I loved that crew, and basically started fostering a relationship with him, and he offered to have me come on and open his new store whenever that was going to open. So through that, kept developing the relationship, and I think looking back on it, I saw some things that, definite red flags for sure. Also haven't told this story on camera yet either, but definite red flags for sure. But I'm a people person. I love people. Yeah. And I'm always trying to see the good in people and give people a chance. And I feel like I can come in and affect positive change on this thing. So anyways, I get in there and we're working hard and we're hustling, bro. And we're doing this thing, and I'm learning the back end of design and learning manufacturing and and the business. And I'm then opening the store on Broadway, and, we launched this store, and kind of everything starts to crumble quickly. We went to the Super Bowl. I got to go to the Super Bowl in 2021 out in LA. No, 22. February 22, out in LA. And after that is kind of when everything kind of hit the fan, and we all had to leave that company.
Yeah.
So I was still working there. A really good buddy of mine, Kevin, I'm just going to be honest. I'm being real. Like, this is all super real. So we haven't talked about this, but it's been a year now. But a buddy of mine, Kevin Wilson, he also was working at Travis, and him and I were still working there. Bella and Allie had left, and they had thought of an idea for what we could do next. But Kevin and I were like, yo, we're still here. We need to figure this out first, and let's figure out how to get out of this situation first. So we didn't really have to figure it out. It was very easy. Like, if you just took a step back, you could see why we needed to leave. So we left, and through that, we decided we were going to start Not a Pipe Dream together. It was, all of 2022 was kind of like unlearning a lot of things that we had just been kind of tossed into, and we were fighting this like machine, it felt like, and we had to unlearn a lot of things. We had to kind of go through some therapeutic different things, and ended up landing on this like beautiful concept of Not a Pipe Dream, and being able to tell the stories of all of these people that we have contact with and have these amazing, incredible stories, but haven't been able to express themselves in that way. So we wanted to give people a platform to be able to speak and talk and tell their story, but we also knew that we needed something tangible as well. And clothing, obviously, for all of us. Bella Bauma is a crazy designer. She also was working for Travis at the time, and she had come up entrepreneurial as well, and she was a dairy farmer and all that. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's another background.
It's so crazy, bro. And she'd be great to have on here too. She's amazing. But she was a designer. She was doing hats and leather jackets and all that out in California, and she had moved to Nashville to work with Travis and learn from him. So she did that, but she's crazy artistic. She's also a co-founder of this, and we just all found this thing that we really wanted to do. We wanted to be in streetwear. We wanted to do something to express ourselves. I have a lot of like cultural background in a lot of different things, but clothing was always something that was at the forefront. Yeah. Like I said, with Michael Jordan and the track suits and the Chicago Bulls in general and how they branded themselves. And that was always the thing. Yeah. I just didn't realize it. But then getting the opportunity to do this, it's kind of brought that all out of me now, and it feels great. Yeah. It feels like I'm at home now, but it's definitely natural.
Did you ever have any worries when it came to starting the business? I mean, it seems like your story, which is very inspiring. You've taken these leaps of faith. So was it any different with starting the brand? Because the biggest thing is like with the show is we're connecting everybody that's watching us, maybe going through something, or maybe at a time where they're like, okay, I need to take a leap of faith, or I'm timid here and there. For you, like, were you like, whether it's succeed or fail, what was it?
Right. I mean, yeah, that's great. That's a great question, bro. Honestly, it was this. My mom had always told me that there's going to be a point in time where you need to start like sticking up for yourself and doing what you want. 'Cause she knew I was a people pleaser and that I always just wanted to make everybody else happy. But I had also seen the sacrifices she had made being a single mother, my whole life until really high school. With now my stepdad has entered the picture, and he taught me a ton. He's a great guy, and they're still together, thank God, which is fantastic. But being a single mother, watching her and watching the struggle and not understanding why it felt like we were always struggling and not understanding like what was going on, but watching her sacrifice and doing things she had to do just to make sure that her and I were good no matter what. That's the foundation of why I now am taking all of these risks, because I saw her she's the one that sacrificed all of this stuff and all of the extracurriculars, and I'm sure she wanted to go do different things and she couldn't do it, you know, because she had to put food on the table. And I know she has other dreams and aspirations. I know she doesn't want to be a bookkeeper. I know she didn't want to work at these insurance companies or beer distributors or whatever. I knew she didn't want to do that. Now she owns a little ice cream shop in Winnebago, and she loves that, right? But she's also still doing the bookkeeping stuff. But she always wanted to be an event planner. She always wanted to go. She's an incredible planner. She's incredible at throwing events. She always wanted to do that and never got the opportunity. So
Yet is the key word.
Because we're going to do that at some point. We are going to do that. So, but watching her sacrifice, and she's still doing it to this day to make sure that we're all good still, that is why I have kind of taken the why not approach. Why not me? Why not us? Like, why not go for it and see what happens? Because I know what happens if you don't.
Yeah.
I've seen and I've lived the path of if you believe that you have to be safe. I've seen the safe path. I've seen it with a bunch of friends in Illinois. Excuse me. I've seen safe. Like, we're around it. Like you're around it every day. There's probably 99% of people that are going to play it safe, which is fine.
Comfort zone, bro.
Right. And they get so comfortable in this thing, and once you get comfortable and settled into a routine and things like that, it's really hard to then now just start taking risks, right? But I had grown up seeing I grew up watching the struggle and seeing what it was to not be able to go take them. She provided a platform for me to be able to take some risks. So I'm taking them. And if it doesn't go the way that I thought, there's beauty in that, because it always forks to something else. It's always, if you're going somewhere, or if you're attempting to go somewhere, there's forward motion, there's progress, right? You put one foot in front of the other every day.
Slow motion is better than no motion.
Exactly, 100%. And if you continue to do that, you're never going to go backwards. So why not do that and then have an open mind, figure out where you want to go and attempt to do that, and then see where that leads you. I never, ever in a million years would have thought that I'd be sitting here on a podcast with the homies doing all this stuff, wearing my clothes, you wearing our clothes.
Flip the camera to my shirt, Not a Pipe Dream.
Yeah, baby. You wearing Not a Pipe Dream, you know, some of my best friends wearing it, my mom wearing it, some of, you know, the greatest people that love clothes in the world, you know, some of my best friends are wearing this stuff. And then you have the celebrity aspect of it too, where they're wearing it and they love it. Like, I would have never, ever, ever in a million years thought that this was even possible. But this wasn't the goal. This isn't the goal. The goal is not to have clothes on any athlete, whatever. That's not the goal. The goal is to be able to create a company that's creative, to then be able to give back to the youth, to teach them how to take chances, how to take calculated risks. Everything is calculation, right? Like, if you're just going out there, you know, doing whatever, shots in the dark, that's not the risk that we're talking about. Yeah. We're talking about taking a chance on something and going after that and pursuing that with everything you have. And if the end goal isn't what you thought it would look like, I guarantee you it's still something beautiful. Yeah. If you allow it to be, if you just look up, bro, and you just keep going wherever life is taking you and don't resist it, there's so much beauty in that, and you have no idea where that can take you. And that's where I'm at now.
That's a word.
It's crazy, right?
That's a word. And you talked about taking risks, getting uncomfortable, and putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
You put yourself out there in a way most guys, well, a lot of guys do, but most guys, it's a little timid there. You're engaged, dude.
Yeah, bro. Crazy.
Give us a story. Give us the proposal story.
Okay. I'll give you how we met first, really fast.
Yeah. Give us that. Give us that.
I know I can talk. I'm sorry, but so how we met, 2019 November, actually 20th, 2019. I had a show at Affinity, and a good buddy of mine, Matt and Cisco, had both put me on. And I was headlining that night, so it was fire. So
you up there?
Yeah, so I'm up there, right? And I had been working on new music and was about to release some more stuff going into 2020. I had already known that the Sam tour was happening in 2020. Sam came to the show that night. I had Bobo's at the show. I think Ty might have been at the show. Like the crew was out. The crew was out, bro. The original 2016 crew, the Skymont boys, were out to play that night, bro. We were out to have a good time, and I'm playing the show, and I was excited because, like I said, somebody I looked up to so much, Sam, was able to come and watch me now perform, and I had watched him. So it was just really cool, and you know, it was just really, really just a cool moment, right? So I'm not gonna lie, it was lit. Like we kind of turned it up. Like it was just cool, man. It was like the one show that I felt just free. I knew that I had these songs for a long time. Nilo and Blake were there, both my producers and co-writers, and they're incredible, bro. And they were there, and that night we're partying, everyone's jumping, having a good time, and I was just playing just the hype songs the whole night. And basically, we got like halfway through the show, and I look out in the crowd, and I'm like, how y'all feeling tonight? Whatever. And I'm scanning the room, and I'm like, looks like everyone's having a good time, except for this girl over here. And this girl was standing on this pole like this, like she's leaned against this banister, like mean mugging, mad as hell. I'm like, what's going on? Everyone else having fun, why aren't you? Like, so now I'm trying to like get her to have fun. So the whole rest of the night, like, we're just having a good time and keeping the energy. So after the show, I went down. I'm like, hey, I'm AJ. And she's like, oh, hey, I'm Kat. I'm like, oh, like, I was just busting your ass. I'm sorry. Like, you know, whatever. Like, do you want to come out with us? And like I said, I got the crew. The crew's out. So any normal, how do I say this?
I got what you're saying. Any person just looking to have a fun time. Would automatically say yes.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that.
We have been media trained.
Because I was going down a path. No, thank you for that. Exactly. And she was like, nah, I'm good. And I was like, dang.
She's kind of different. That makes
exactly. Like, dang, that's wild. And I had, you know, I was like, all right, well, okay. Well, if you change your mind, let me know. We're going to be, you know, at Tin Roof down the street. And so she didn't come out that night. And thank God. You know, that night was a wild night. We ended up back at the crib, and we had so much fun. And so from there, COVID hits. I thought I was going on tour. I was kind of detaching myself from a lot of just like, I didn't want to get into a relationship and get on the road and know that I couldn't hold up my end of the bargain at that point. I was in a really messed up headspace. I'd just gotten out of another relationship, you know, the year before, and I was just very much
into limbo.
I was in that in-between space, which is okay. Like, everybody can have their in-between, right? Like, we're not all, you know, super polished, whatever. I was figuring it out as an adult. And so 2020 happens, fast forward to August, and her and I kind of just kept up a little bit on IG, but not a ton. And I had actually seen her in passing sometime in May, just walking down the street, whatever. And August, my lawyer now, but one of my best friends as well, Willie Jones, he had his wedding down in Baton Rouge. So a group of us drove from Nashville to Baton Rouge, and I was in the back seat. So Kat and I were just DMing the whole time. Boom, 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 boom. I'm running my battery up crazy. I'm like, yo, like, can I just get your number? Like, whatever. And she was like, nah.
Dang.
Like, oh my gosh, bro. Like, it's been 8-10 months.
That boy was not risen.
Yeah, like, okay, my bad. So so we keep talking and all that, and went down for the wedding, and from the wedding, Derek Sanderson, who I told you earlier on in the pod, he and I were driving from then Baton Rouge to LA.
Dang.
So it was like, okay, now I'm really in the car for a minute. Like, can I really get your number? Because we're like, there ain't no way. And she finally gave me a number, whatever. So went to LA in the car, and then I flew back from LA back to Nashville. And when I got back, we finally like hung out for the first time. It was right around my birthday, and she had friends that had moved in from New York, and so she threw like a joint party, and like it was just our closest friends because it was COVID. So we all just kicked it at the house and partied at the house, and we finally hung out that first time, and we just kept hanging out from there. And you know, fast forward 3 years, we've gone through a lot, bro. And she held me down through a lot of stuff, like all those different things I was telling you about, right? Like all these different ups and downs in my professional, or you know, in my
professional career.
Career. Yeah.
Hey, don't say it's not a professional
career.
career.
Yeah, my bad. In my career, she had been through all of it. She had seen it all, and we had gone through a lot of stuff as well. And it just, the foundation just kept getting more and more solid, and it was unwavering. And I think I knew from jump that this was the person that I wanted to be with. I didn't know if she wanted to be with me.
Yeah.
So you know, I had to kind of, I had to figure that out, and to figure out, guys, we don't talk about this a lot, but to understand our worth. Like, are we worth it for her to be with us? Like, and I had to kind of understand and grasp that whole thing in relationships. I had never really felt settled into a relationship, I think. I don't think I'd ever really felt worthy of being with somebody that loved me back like that, I guess. Like, it's just, I don't know, something that you had to like work through. Like, as I'm just working through it. And she embraced me, and she opened up to me. I opened up to her about a lot of our past, and we just kept growing our foundation, bro. And she came out on the road with Brandy and I a ton, and Brandy loves her, and then my family loves her, and I love her family, and all of that. So it just kept growing. It was a slow burn. It was a lot of denial, like, you know, but it built our foundation a ton. And I encourage every man, woman, whoever you are, you know, to go out and find that, but take your time and be patient, and like really find out if this is the person that you want to be with the rest of your life, instead of like these like shotgun things that are so fast. And then, you know, within 3 years, it's, you met somebody, you got engaged, you got married, and then divorced. Like, that's what's happening now. So we've been together 3 years. I hope we're together the next 300. Right. So but yeah, so she's awesome. She's an entrepreneur as well. She's a hustler. She's a model. She's going crazy right now. We did a really cool shoot, but she's also massive in the health and wellness space. So if you're ever wanting somebody in health and wellness on here, she's incredible in the holistic health space. She lived it. She has Hashimoto. She has PCOS. So she has all these things that women are starting to talk about now, that they've been struggling with for a long time. And she is super educated on all that stuff. Candida, celiac. I have celiac. I found out because of her. And so, like, you know, so anyways, she has like put the battery pack back into me. So that's why.
Shout out Kat, man.
Man, shout out Kat.
Shout out Kat.
Shout out Kat. So
what's up.
That's the fuel to all this. I want to build a life with her, and be able to show people as well, like what real love is, and it what it started as, and what it can be, and how it can affect each individual's personal life. So
hey.
Yeah, bro. Wow.
I think you dropped a lot of gems in this one, bro. I appreciate you hopping on the show, man.
Oh, of course, man. Yeah.
Definitely, man, your story is inspiring to a lot of people, and it's the thing where you see one thing you see the person, but you don't see the story that's to follow.
Yeah.
And so I think it's very honorable and noble for you to just be able to open and sharing it. And I'm sure you can help somebody out there. Definitely help me out.
I hope so, man.
Yeah.
I hope that's the main thing. That's what Not a Pipe Dream's about, man. And hopefully one day we can build some like really cool youth centers that involve youth understanding, you know, where your paths can go, understanding to take those risks, maybe some workshop stuff with producing and engineering and design work and things like that. And so that's really what this brand is about. That's why we care about the design, the fabric, like everything that goes into this, the silhouettes, all of that. We really care about it, and we really want to be able to tell these stories alongside doing something really cool and something that, you know, we've all wanted to be involved in. So, and find new ways to be more sustainable and do that in do that in this medium, I guess, on Earth, and figure out how we can also help clean up the world too, because there's a lot of waste in all this stuff. So we want to figure out how we can do it better too. So it's all of that. There's a lot of goals here, but I just appreciate you allowing me to come on here and ramble for 50 minutes straight.
Hey, you straight, bro. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, bro.
Yep. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you.